Board of County Commissioners to order. The first business is the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, followed by invocation from Commissioner Davy Jones. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Will you bow your heads, please? And we're going to read Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10 as we start the invocation. So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. So Heavenly Father, as we come to you today, we just give you thanks for blessing this community and for putting us in your right hand. Father, we give you thanks for your counsel at this county commission meeting today as we take up the business of our county. We give you thanks for our citizens. We give you thanks for our employees. And Father, today we want to thank you for the rainfall that we've had. We've had a wonderful opportunity to enjoy the season, and we will appreciate your presence during this fall harvest season. So Father, as we come to you today, we just give you thanks, and we do that in Jesus' name. Amen.
Morning, everyone. The chair comment this morning is a reminder that the administration building will be closed on October 20th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. The public is advised to make arrangements to do their business in the administrative building at a time subsequent or before. This closure is for training. I don't have anything else. The consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the items on the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. This morning we have the opportunity for public comment, and I know there's a couple of people that have asked, or at least one for sure. Any public comment? Mr. Kreitzer?
Good morning. My name is Bob Kreitzer. I'm here twofold today. Number one, Western Kansas Career Showcase. The county has been very instrumental in getting this program started, and it's off to a very good year. Everyone agrees. And I want to really congratulate Jenny and Leanne on their activity and their forwardness in reaching out to their staff, as well as the City of Garden City, to develop a complete agenda, topics that showcase the critical careers that are necessary for the county and the city to operate. They have submitted all of this in conjunction with the city. Joe Coles, who's our administrator, has accepted that and is really looking forward to working with their team. But the effort that they put forward shows a tremendous interest in making this a truly successful showcase in March. And a second topic is on behalf of Southwind Development Homeowners Association, Scott Bergstrom, who's is also a member of our board of directors. Our community residents have asked us to come to the county and ask for the opportunity to do a fall cleanup. We didn't timely bring it to you before to where the waste disposal fees could be waived, and talking with the Department of Public Works, that ended last Friday. I know you can't do anything at this point in time in public comment, but we would ask that you consider it as commissioners to allow that waiver of dump fees to extend through the end of the month. That would give us 2 weeks to allow our members to get their fall cleanup done. Now, we as an association will take care of all of the costs at our end. The dumpsters, all of the transportation fees, everything else like that, we will pay for. We're asking for a waiver, if you will, on the dump fees at the county. Those are the two things, and I thank you for what you do and for being here.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
One quick question, Bob. Would you reiterate a little bit about your showcase down at High Plains Feed Yard? I was planning on attending, but didn't make it.
You know, it was if there is such a thing, it was too well attended. Tom Jones has a tremendous facility down at the High Plains Feed Yard, and it can accommodate about 135 to 140 people. We had about 175, and we had a tremendous interest from the people that were there and the businesses that were there and interchanged. The complaints we had is that we were overcrowded, and when it came to lunch, it was too hard to get everyone through. But we continue to learn, and that's one of the things I'm afraid that we're gonna do, is that we're gonna lose the ambiance of having it at the feed yard where everybody can be integrated and yet have enough room for all of the students coming in. So we're really looking forward to it. We have a showcase coming up a week from Thursday, or excuse me, 3 weeks. It's November the 9th in Dodge City. It'll be at the Civic Center, and it's the one called Business and Technology. And we already have 14 different businesses signed up for the interview type tables. And we don't have our final count, but it's already over 150. And that works really well because we have a gymnasium there where it can be held.
Well, that's a good problem to have.
You know, it is, and yet you've got to make sure that you have time for all of those students to interact, to at least open their eyes. And you don't want to have them walk away saying, well, gee, they didn't care enough about me to talk to me. So finding that balance is going to be the real test.
Any other comments, commissioners? I would entertain a motion to put the extension of the waiver on the county fee to the end of the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Been moved and seconded to add the waiver of a county fee for cleanup and do it countywide. Any further comment? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll take that up at the end of the business agenda. Thank you, Bob. Any other public comment? Hearing none, we'll move on then to the 4-H presentation and proclamation. And Ms. Harkness, good morning. Please state your full name for the viewing public.
Good morning, Commissioners, Chairman Schultz. My name is Janet Harkness. I am the 4-H agent for the West Plains Extension District encompassing Finney and Scott counties. I would like to say thank you all for your support, for Chairman Pishney's support coming to our meetings of the Extension Board and giving us great advice and listening to the business that we've got going on. Our 4-H program in the West Plains District is 396 members strong. We have 13 different 4-H clubs, including our Cloverbud clubs for our 5- and 6-year-olds, and we are starting a new club up in Scott County tonight, actually. So we just want to say thank you again for your support. We have had youth in our program attend different project meetings, different classes, both here in Finney County, district-wide, statewide, and we are sending our youth nationwide to 4-H programs. And I would like to introduce Miss Bailey Hutchison. She is an 11-year member of Finney County 4-H and will be attending the 4-H National Congress this fall.
Good morning, Bailey.
Good morning. I'm Bailey Hutchison, and I wanted to talk a little bit about my 4-H career. So every year we have a record book, and this was my 4-H story for my record book this year. It goes, every year for my 4-H story, I write about a project, animal, a memory from this year. And this year I want to write about every project, every animal, and every memory. This year on May 14th, I graduated high school, and it was strange closing a chapter that had taken up the majority of my life. But I can now say the same about 4-H. I started 4-H when I was 7, and I participated in Cloverbuds far before that. So when I say 4-H raised me, I mean it. It was like a third parent, except it was unfortunate that it couldn't drive me to and from practice. Throughout my time in 4-H, I participated in quite a few projects. I wasn't always great at them, but I always tried, and I always learned something. That is one of the best things about 4-H, the constant learning opportunities. I learned how to sew, measure ingredients, write a check, send a letter, and much more. But more importantly, I learned how to communicate with others, how to be a good leader, how important it is to never give up, and a million more life skills that I use daily. And not only did I learn skills that I use daily, I met people who I talked to daily. 4-H brought me some of my closest friends and gave us a safe place to create memories. I will never be able to forget what I learned from and experienced through 4-H. It truly does make the best better. Do you guys have any questions about 4-H or anything? else?
Not a question, but I compliment you on your years of 4-H.
Thank you.
You're absolutely right in your summary of all the benefits of the 4-H program, so thank you for that, Bailey.
Thank you. Yes.
What year are you in school?
I'm a freshman in college at the Garden City Community College.
Good for you.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Members of the commission, I have been provided a National 4-H Month proclamation for here in Finney County. I will read the proclamation and ask for your consideration. Whereas 4-H is America's largest youth development organization supporting nearly 6 million youth across the country. And further, whereas 4-H has helped thousands of youth in West Plains Extension District, Finney County, to become confident, independent, resilient, and compassionate leaders. And whereas 4-H is delivered by Cooperative Extension, a community of more than 100 public universities across the nation that provide experiences where young people learn by doing through hands-on projects in the important areas of health, science, agriculture, and civic engagement. And whereas National 4-H Week showcases the incredible ways that 4-H inspires children, kids, to do work and highlights the remarkable 4-H youth in West Plains Extension District, Finney County, who work each day to make a positive impact on those around them. And whereas 4-H network of nearly 500,000 volunteers, 3,500 professionals who provide caring and supportive mentoring to all 4-Hers, helping them to grow into true leaders, entrepreneurs, and visionaries. Now therefore, I, Jerry Schultz, Chair, do hereby proclaim October 2023 as National 4-H Month throughout Finney County, Kansas, and encourage all our citizens to recognize 4-H for the significant impact they have made and continue to make by empowering youth with the skills they need to lead for a lifetime. Motion to approve.
So move, Mr. Chairman, and for you to sign the proclamation, please.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to authorize, to make the proclamation, authorize the chair to sign. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Just believe it or not, I already signed it. Madam Clerk.
Thank you very much, Commissioners. We do appreciate your support year after year of our 4-H program, growing our leaders. And if I may make a small request of you, could we get a picture of you with Miss Bailey this morning?
Oh, I have to get my coat on for that.
You want all of us or just the chairman?
I would just, well, I would love all of you, but if just the chair.
Now, the clerks, this is somebody's conspiring. Let's go right
It's a great opportunity with our youth.
Over here by the other Jones.
No, I still need you up a little bit.
I'm surprised they're not gone. That's right, that's right. Girl trip. That you got it.
Larry, if you're going to speak, I need you to use your mic.
I got it.
Next on our agenda is the 2023-18 parcel plat, American Implement Annex Edition. Mr. Thompson?
I'll be presenting for Dante today.
Oh, well, Make sure you tell the voting public or listening public who you are and proceed, please.
John Persisto, I'm a planner with NDS. Pro Stake Surveying on behalf of American Implement is requesting to replat the American Implement Annex Edition. The property is generally located a half-mile north of West Jones Ave and a quarter-mile south of West Mary Street at 2305 Humphrey Road. Lot 1, Block 1 contains 5.68 acres, and Lot 2, Block 1 contains 5.01 acres. The property is currently zoned I-1, I-2 Light Medium Industrial District. The owner is platting the property into 2 lots in the anticipation of selling Lot 1 to the current tenant building. The second submittal of the plat was presented for site plan review on September 12th and met requirements. The Planning Commission recommended approval of the parcel plat at the September 21st meeting. There are 2 alternatives before you today. The governing body may approve the parcel plat, or the governing body may not approve the parcel plat. And staff recommends alternative 1, approve the parcel plat.
Questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the parcel plat.
And I'll second.
Been moved and seconded to approve the parcel plat as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, we'll hear from Lana Duvall, Finney County Economic Development President and CEO.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
Just a few updates. Western Kansas Corridor, we have a warehouse that has put in a contract, and they've actually already delivered some of the steel to the site. So hopeful that we'll be able to finish out the construction process, which I'm hoping this week will be the end of that. Construction on the first phase is done. We're just waiting on the county to sign off that the infrastructure was completed to your specifications. So hopefully this week that all gets shored up and we can start with some construction out there. There's also a travel center that has a contract on property out there. They should close December and hopefully start construction January or February. So we'll start seeing some things happen out there. Housing, the typical things we update you on. Housing, we're still 4,000 units short, who knew? But we're making some progress. We're seeing some things start to move a little bit. Interest rates are absolutely causing concern for obvious reasons with the builders and the developers and with buyers, quite frankly. So I think our focus on getting some rental units in will pay off for us, simply because with interest rates where they are, a lot of folks just don't feel comfortable entering into the homeowner market. So hopefully we'll see some of those apartments start to come to life. We're working on Sligo Station. That first building is 60 units of apartments, and our hope, we think we're on track that we'll be able to start construction on that March or April of next year. So fingers crossed. Four-year degree programming, Newman does have business and agribusiness degrees right now, four-year degrees available here in town. In the spring, they are intending to start their RN to BSN programming, which will be really important. A lot of the hospitals around here are seeking the BSN qualified, but it's a real challenge for those nursing students to be able to do that. So we're excited to have that in place. Other workforce, we continue to hear from all of our businesses that there's just no people. We know. We told you there were not going to be any people. So it continues to be a challenge. We know that. Again, we have more jobs in Finney County than ever before in our history. We're adding jobs. Shortly after the first of the year, we're going to see additional jobs coming with the empirical plants. So there's a lot going on. We get that, and we just have to keep our eye on the ball and get some housing and childcare in place to allow folks to move to our community. On that note, childcare is moving well, finally. We've got some good progress there. KDHE came and did the preliminary walkthrough. The fire marshal has been in and done their thing. So we have a meeting this afternoon, this evening, I should say, with the child care, with the executive director, and hopefully we'll have a dead date that we'll be opening that facility. We have been fortunate that the workforce for that facility has been lining up. There are a lot of folks who have a passion for early childhood and are lined up and ready to take those positions. So hopefully we'll be in good shape when we're ready to open. And then the final thing I would remind you of, we have a 5th week meeting in October, so that will be on October 30th, a lunchtime meeting. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have for us.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
Couple questions. Travel center, you gotta expand that on for my. Is that a fueling station or like, basically kind of like the one across the street?
It is the more domestic type travel versus the truck stop type travel. They're really focused on that family traveler and leisure traveler.
Okay. Second request. Sometime I'd love to have if you could schedule a deal where we could get a little walkthrough empirical before they're up and running.
I will make some calls for you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from other commissioners? I do have a few. Do we have a target? I know you said you were talking about drop dead date, but do we have a roundabout target date for this new daycare center?
We had really hoped that we would be open by the start of the school year, and that did not happen. So I won't know for sure until this evening where the executive director thinks we are, but I would like to think that we're within a month of opening.
Our Finney County Executive Director of the Coalition or the Executive Director for Child Care for the state?
The Finney County Child Care Early Learning Network Executive Director. Yes, sir.
Okay, and so how did you get Topeka to finally decide that we should be licensed?
Well, in my last meeting with the governor's task force, I brought up the delays in licensing across the board, not specifically for our community, obviously. And we were fortunate there were some KDHE folks. The secretary of KDHE serves on that task force with me. Some of her staff was in the audience, and fortunately, Ms. Goss, who has Finney County ties, was also sitting in the room and said, hang on, why is this taking so long? So that seemed to spur some activity and get us some good progress. And I think Commissioner Larry Jones's comments to KDHE during his opportunities to speak with them probably helped that along as well.
They were clear and direct.
I like brevity.
Any other questions for Ms. DeVault?
All right, thank you.
The update. All right, next on our agenda is JDC Behavioral Health Funding. Beth?
Commissioners, Lisa Southern with Compass will be presenting with me, and I don't see her here.
We'll skip over you and come back. You want to give her a jingle that we're ready for her? I know she's a busy lady. She's the executive director. I serve on Compass's board, and lots of things going on at Compass. I won't tie up our business items, but I will speak to that during the commissioner's report. Let's go on then to the 2023 bridge inspection, and Mackenzie Phillips. Good morning, Mackenzie.
Good morning, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. So this morning before you, you are asked to consider and approve the agreement for engineering services with Kirkham Michael for the 2023 biennial bridge inspections. So the county performs bridge inspections every odd year. We have a total of 40 bridges that require these inspections, and this year they're due by November 2023. In 2021, Kirkham Michael was contracted to perform these routine inspections, and then prior to 2021, it was always performed in-house by our county engineer. The total cost from Kirkham Michael's proposal for the 2023 inspections is $4,640. The alternatives before you this morning are the board may approve the agreement for the engineering services with Kirkham Michael for the 2023 biennial bridge inspections and authorize the county administrator to sign the contract, or two, the board may not approve the agreement with Kirkham Michael. And staff recommends alternative one, to approve the agreement and authorize the county administrator to sign the contract.
On this one, it appears the contract is for the governing board to sign. Do you mind if the recommendation is that the chair sign the agreement?
We can do that. There was one change that they were working on that the county counselor did make comment of in Exhibit A11 under governing law. It says, it states just by very generally, the governing law of where they're located at and not specifically Kansas law. And so they were working on fixing that, and that's why we were going to ask that the county administrator sign it.
I don't have any problem with that.
Okay.
You like a motion, Mr. Chairman?
If you're ready and don't have any other questions.
I hereby offer the motion to accept the proposal from, for their name.
Kirk and Michael.
Yeah, there we go, for $4,640 to inspect bridges.
I'll second.
And to have the administrator sign the contract. Is that part of your motion, sir?
Yeah, that was what I meant to say.
Is that moved by the second? Yes. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Imagine how many bridges some of those eastern Kansas counties have.
Some of them are in the hundreds, I believe, if I saw the report.
Correct. We have 40.
Pardon?
I thought you had to have water to have it. Occasional water.
All right, let's go back on the agenda to the behavioral health funding. Beth and Lisa Southern. Lisa is from Compass, the executive director. Everybody announce for the viewing public who you are and proceed.
Good morning, Commissioners. Sorry for my voice. I'm getting on the back end of the crud, so. I'm Beth Beavers, the Director of the Finney County Department of Corrections, and we have Lisa Southern, the Executive Director of Compass Behavioral Health, here with me today. This morning, we're excited to partner with Compass, formerly Behavioral Health, for this grant. The Finney County Department of Corrections has worked with Compass Behavioral Health for many years. They provide services for our adult and youth juveniles in the detention and probation side for several years now. So I'll describe the components of the grant, and I'll let Lisa describe the services that are going to be available under this grant. So this grant is part of House Bill 2021. It creates and amends the law regarding assessment of and provision of services to children in the child welfare and the juvenile justice systems. The funding for this grant is through KDOC, so there will be no cost to the counties for these services. This grant is for 6 months and will be reevaluated by KDOC for further funding after that. So the bill directs the Secretary of Corrections to ensure when a child is placed in detention that they'll receive a standardized risk and needs assessment. This assessment gets forwarded on to Compass Behavioral Health for mental health services and substance abuse services. It also requires us to complete a case plan for the juvenile, and this plan is for the care that they receive in the JDC and then the continuation of care after they leave the JDC. And then the remainder of the bill, and this is just a portion of 21. There are several other components to that not relating to the detention center. And that they have access to behavioral health services, mental health services, and substance abuse treatment disorders while in detention. So currently, the detention center does offer mental health and substance abuse services through Compass for our detention youth, but those are at the request of the court, either by the youth requesting those services or by staff identifying those needs. So I'll turn it over to Lisa now to describe the services.
So Fernando, who's the director of the Garden City office, he and I met with Beth to talk about the requirements. And as she said, when a youth comes in, they will get an assessment that will trigger whether or not they need further assessment. And the assessment then is to be done within 72 hours. Well, when we talked, we realized that many of the kids go home after 48 hours when they have their court hearing. So there's still going to be a gap. So what we're proposing is that we're going to actually see the kid within 48 hours. You can always exceed the 72-hour expectation. And then if they go home, we will use our care coordinators to then work with the child or the court or the family on the place where they can receive additional services when they go back home. The ultimate goal of this is to get the kids that end up at JDC into some sort of treatment. And so, again, if we're not hitting all of them, then the recidivism is likely to continue. So if we do an assessment and they're going to stay, then the services that we'll provide will be therapy, individual, drug and alcohol, individual, as well as have a substance use and a mental health group every week that the kids that are there can attend. Even if we have a youth there who does not qualify for these services, we would still want them to attend the group because learning, education, there's just no reason for them to not be involved just because they haven't been flagged as in need of those services. Everybody can benefit. So that's our proposal with this project.
Questions from the commission?
I guess a question for either one of you is, do you have to hire more staff for this, or do you just, the staff you have in place will handle this?
As far as the JDC staff, it'll just become part of their intake process for that initial assessment, and then I'll leave it to you for the Compass.
Yes, and then the KDOC? Yes, okay. Lots of acronyms. KDOC is paying for our part of this process, so there's no cost to the county.
I wonder, if 6 months is a short period to kind of get started on this, and then you just look like and then they say, well, we're done, so I don't know why they would just offer it 6 months. It seems to me like at least you need to let it run a year.
The under House bill, it was supposed to start October 1st. We have not finalized the risk and needs assessment with KDOC. So it's really not going to start until January, even though it says October 1st. So I think they're just putting things in place now, see how it goes, the workbooks to track the youth, because that is part of KDOC's responsibility, is to track the data on the youth. So I don't foresee this funding to end after 6 months.
Those were the two topics I had, so they've been addressed. Thank you for that.
Well, I think that there's a real trap here in the case where the child is accused of a crime, and then we're having further evaluation without the consent of assigned counsel. So I would ask that the healthcare providers and the director be mindful of that concern. These evaluations can't take place without the consent of counsel. KDOC doesn't have the right to tell an assigned lawyer providing representation to an accused who's going to be evaluated and who isn't. That's going to be a problem, and so you'll need to work through that.
Is there some sort of confidentiality with those agreements? I mean, with the evaluations as they're doing them, or is that something that automatically gets provided to the court? I guess would be the question in the middle of that, as far as if we're doing those evaluations or not as well.
When you say confidentiality, are you meaning to the courts or?
Confidentiality, meaning that if that evaluation is happening between the therapist is evaluating the juvenile, is that evaluation being provided to the court, or is that confidential under HIPAA or whatever applies in this particular one, and we're not sending that on, or at least it's only getting sent to defense counsel who can then do something with it, or where's that?
It will be treated as if they were coming to Compass. So the parent will be notified. A youth age 14 and older can actually consent to treatment on their own. But our goal, this is where the care coordination piece comes in. So the care coordinator will be working on getting all of the releases signed by the parent, or if they're in like St. Francis custody, then getting it signed by St. Francis. But it will not be turned over without a release.
I would just urge you to consider in those cases where crime is involved to include counsel for getting your consent. Otherwise, there's a plethora of problems.
I was just going to offer a motion.
Yes, please.
I offer the motion to empower our chair to sign the grant request for this, this proposal.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the grant proposal as submitted. All those, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next item on our agenda is Employee Benefit Fund Resolution. Good morning, Jenny.
Morning, Jenny Newberry, Assistant County Administrator and Finance Director. This first item that I'm bringing to you is asking you to adopt Resolution 27-2023 to expand the Employee Benefits Fund to include additional items listed below. Some background on this: the Employee Benefits Fund was established in 1978 for the purpose of paying Finney County share of employee benefits that included Social Security, Medicare, CAPERS, work comp, and unemployment compensation only at that time. In 1989, it was amended and added medical insurance premiums to that. Since then, the landscape of employee benefits has changed dramatically, and in discussions that we have had during the last couple of budgeting years, the board has added some new benefits to entice new employees and to keep the ones that we have. And so we are asking that you would also include Kansas Police and Fire Retirement System, 401A and 457 matching contributions, life insurance premiums, employee health and mental wellness clinic that we use as Grow Well right now, and other wellness initiatives, pre and continuing employment screenings, checks and testing, employee training expenses that would be related to all employee in service, and other periodic mandatory supervisory training or department head training, employer appreciation, recognition, and sympathy gifts, and recruiting materials and supplies. Alternatives are to adopt Resolution 27-2023 to expand Employee Benefits Fund, or two, to decline the adoption of this resolution, and staff recommends alternative number 1. Any questions?
Well, I'm going to show my ignorance. The proposed resolution that I have in my packet has item H on it, recruitment material and supplies.
Yeah, that would just be like the tablecloths that we use at those, or banners that we put up, or advertising when we do like the employment fairs where there's multiple departments that will be.
Right, and such as our workforce, where you're going to be assisting with providing.
The showcase, yeah.
That was my question. Any other questions from commissioners? Then is there a motion to approve Resolution 27-2023 as proposed from the administration?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve Resolution 20-2023 as presented. Any further discussion?
It's 27-2023.
27-2023, excuse me. Thank you for the correction, Jenny, as always. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Give us a little bit of time and we'll get this
Sure.
resolution signed.
Just one,
On behalf of all the employees of Finney County.
Absolutely, and we thank you for helping us to expand those.
Well, Jenny, it looks like you're here for all three sewer districts. We'll take up East Side Sewer District number 1. Please tell us what it's about.
This is to set up capital reserve fund for sewer district number 1. During the past few years, we've talked about the need to establish a fund to set back aside funds to do big maintenance projects, repairs and maintenance projects. We have had the opportunity with ARPA funds to be able to go through the sewer districts and revamp them, pull them all back to nearly new, as new as we can get them without having to tap into county funds. So we are requesting that you allow us to establish a capital reserve fund to set aside funds going forward to maintain these sewer districts. There is no additional fiscal impact for setting these up. We currently have budgeted for sewer district number 1, $138,750 that we had planned to either use as capital outlay expenses or to put aside into the reserve fund. So there will not be an additional impact to that in the 24 budget. So their alternatives would be to adopt resolution 24-2023 to establish capital reserve fund for East Side Sewer District number 1, or number 2, do not approve. Staff recommends alternative number 1. Any questions?
I do, both for you and Robert. With regard to this capital improvement fund, the resolution says monies shall be used as provided by law. I assume that we can also dissolve this fund should we decide to.
Correct, that is correct.
That was my only question.
I guess my question, Mr. Administrator or Jenny, is this simply putting a new line item under that capital improvement fund so it specifically addresses sewer districts instead of just a general as has been?
That is correct. It is specific to this sewer district, and the monies come from the revenue from that sewer district.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we adopt Resolution 24-2023.
Second.
Been moved and seconded to approve resolution 24-2023 as presented. Any additional comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll sign that resolution. Give us a moment to get our paperwork done, Jenny, and then we'll take up sewer district number 2. All right, next item on the agenda is sewer district number 2, capital reserve fund. Jenny?
And this sewer district services Southwind subdivision, and it is basically the same information. We have used ARPA funds and we'll be bringing that district back to nearly new requirements and operating. And in the 2024 budget, we had set aside $2,900 to start this capital reserve program for it. It has a much lower fund balance than sewer district number 1. So alternatives would be to adopt resolution 25-2023 to establish a capital reserve fund for sewer district number 2, or alternative number 2, do not adopt the resolution. Staff recommends alternative number 1. Any questions?
Questions from the commission?
Mr. Chairman, I move we adopt resolution 25-2023 as presented.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to approve resolution 25-2023 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We'll get some paperwork done, and then we'll take up sewer district number 3. Next item on the business agenda is sewer district number 3, capital reserve fund. Jenny?
And there is a typo on this. But this is to discuss sewer district number 3, which services Towns Riverview and Towns Riverview South. Once Sunset Terrace is completed, there will be an additional 70 houses that are serviced in that area just north of the current area. This one has also been brought back to standards with ARPA funding, and currently we did not set aside any funds in the 2024 budget to start the capital improvements reserve fund. However, we are anticipating that with the addition of those 70 homes that we will be able to do that in the future. There was an amount of $12 per month that was specifically cited for maintenance, and we anticipate that at least a portion of that will go into capital reserve fund going forward. So alternatives would be to adopt resolution 26-2023 to establish capital reserve fund for sewer district number 3, or not approve resolution 26-2023. Staff recommends alternative number 1. Any questions?
Yes. I'm going to show my ignorance again, but the prior resolutions had a balance and creating a balance for the fund. This time, we're just creating the fund without a balance.
Yes, so that in the future, and if we do happen to have some additional funds, if there were expenses that we did not have to spend money on in 2024 and there was available balance, we could go ahead then at the end of 2024 and bring that transfer to you all to approve.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the capital reserve fund for sewer district 3, resolution 26-2023.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded to adopt resolution 2023. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Where are we, between you and Robert, the creation of sewer district number 4? Is that on the horizon?
Yes, it is. Yes, we'll be getting with our bond council to go ahead and create that.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Been signing too much. Just ran out.
You know where that pin goes.
It's gone.
Did you say Next on our business agenda is the administrator on debt service transfers, and this is technical in nature, and you're gonna have to do some explaining.
Sure. Initially, the county went out to improve the HVAC system of some of the facilities and so forth, and incurred over $6 million in debt for that project. They also then passed a 0.25% sales tax back in, and I'm going to look at Dory or Trista on that for helping me remember when that was passed. BRMP sales tax, which I believe is 17. Anyway,
For the listening public, though, you know what BRMP is, and I have no clue, except that I got a pregame. Tell us what that is.
Okay, so that is dedicated for buildings and roads and maintenance and so forth. And that is utilized to help retire the debt of the improvements for the HVAC system. The issue at hand here, which we spoke about the last couple of budgeting processes, is that the debt extends past the retirement of the sales tax. Sales tax is sunsets in September of '27. Debt goes on until November of 2032. So in order to pay that debt off, I'm recommending that we go ahead and transfer on a monthly basis, or we can do it on an annual basis, but either way, $34,000 per month towards the debt that is beyond that 2027 deadline when it sunsets. Additionally, then we will also transfer $100,000 annually from the general fund for the same purpose. That way we can accumulate enough funds to retire the debt in April of 2028, still utilizing the sales tax and the general fund to do so. Retiring it early in '28 will save you over $160,000 in interest. That way, we match that revenue stream with your debt and get it off the books in a timely fashion, as opposed to creating a budgeting liability for the next 5 years following the retirement or the sunset of that sales tax. Questions? Yes, sir.
Does the existing revenue from the sales tax allow for this extra?
We generate, on average, $110,000 a month in sales tax from that 0.25%, and we're taking $34,000 off of that.
Okay, thank you.
What I see is that the sales tax revenue has increased dramatically since the time that the sales tax was authorized by the electors. And that by buying down this debt early, we save $160,000 in savings to the taxpayers. And utilizing the sales tax as it's collected now to pay the debt off early.
Correct.
Is that a general summary of what we're doing?
Yes, it is. It's in essence matching that revenue to that debt. Yes.
In your opinion, does it adequately affect our cash flow in any way?
Ask the question one more time, please.
Do you think it interferes with our cash flow in any meaningful way?
It does not. It still gives you a very strong balance throughout that sales tax revenue stream. It will still have a balance in it of anywhere from $3.8 million to $5.2 million, depending on the timing of this.
Other questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we authorize the transfer of funds, which equal $34,000 a month from BRMP, which is the maintenance fund, sales tax fund, and $100,000 annually from the general fund into the debt service fund.
Is there a second to the motion?
I will second.
Been moved and seconded to create or transfer from BRMP $34,000 a month and $100,000 annually from the general fund to our debt service transfer as set forth in the motion. Any further discussion? Does the motion adequately cover what you need done, Mr. Administrator?
Yes, sir.
All right, very good. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next on our agenda is a security system project third phase, and Administrator Reese, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. This is, once again, the third phase of the security system upgrades to facilities. The initial one was done down at the JDC. And the second phase was over at the courthouse, which has recently been completed. These improvements were based on a couple of reviews, one of them from K-Work, your workers' compensation carrier, as well as Department of Homeland Security. It also, since this third phase includes the administrative office, it also will meet some of the requirements for your voting criteria. And Dory has worked extensively with the provider of this security system to make certain that it covers what she needs to have covered for voting. This third phase not only covers the administrative building, but it also covers Public Works as well. The fourth and fifth phase will be coming. Fourth phase will include the attorney's office. As you recall, they'll be going through some upgrades on that, and we'll include that within the construction of that one there. And then the fifth phase, excuse me, will be with the Health Department EMS facility, and that will be included within that construction as well. Approximate cost for this is $225,734.50. This is a budgeted project, be paid out of the general fund. Questions?
Any questions for the administrator? Motion?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we authorize the third phase of the security system, or programs, excuse me, to be paid with funds from the general fund in the amount of $225,734.50.
Second.
Second.
Moved and seconded to complete the third phase of the security project, including the county administration building and public works, at an estimate of $225,734.50. Is there any further discussion?
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if the request from the state for some funding is successful, then we would expend less than the $225,000. Would that be
That is correct. That is correct.
how will we know and when will we know about the state?
It appears to be eligible for it, and it's on a reimbursement basis, if I remember correctly.
Okay, so we have to spend it first and then,
Yes.
all right, thank you.
What's the time frame on recovery?
Following completion of the project, so that would be in 24.
Late 24? All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. All right, Madam Clerk, we have on our agenda the designations for the voting delegates at the Kansas Association of Counties meeting.
Yes, that meeting will take place on December 5th through 7th, 2023. the board would be asked to designate voting delegates to take part in the business meeting. We do have 3 confirmed people that are going. That would be Commissioner Finney, County Administrator Reese, and County Appraiser Maria Castillo. The KAC does recommend that you appoint at least one alternative, but suggest 2.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I thought we gave a lifetime appointment to Commissioner Finney.
Well, I was unaware of a lifetime appointment.
Well, it was close to that. I would,
Well, I think you can make your motion. I would like to have a little further discussion on this lifetime
right ahead.
appointment matter. Vice Chairman, this rookie chairman needs a little assistance on, has this board made such a lifetime appointment?
No, but he's the only one that ever volunteers.
Well, no good deed should go unpunished.
Well, that might be a punishment, but
Commissioner Davy Jones, do you have a motion, sir?
I'll offer the motion to name Commissioner Finney as our primary representative, and we need to probably put in that motion a backup. So let's honor our county appraiser, Marie, with the alternate appointment.
I don't know that motion is going to, the staff recommendation was to have Commissioner Finney, then the administrator, and then the appraiser. So your motion is different than the recommendation?
Yeah, I'm mad at the appraiser. I'm mad at the administrator.
I didn't know we washed that in public.
We don't. We're kidding.
All right, that's the motion. Is there a second?
before a second, I think it would be prudent to have 2 alternates. Illness, travel, something could come up for any of the 3. So I think, and I don't care which order they're in, but I think 3 being designated is not imprudent.
The pending motion is for you as commissioner and Maria as appraiser as the alternate. Is that your motion?
And I can amend that motion to make the administrator and the appraiser the designated alternates.
All right, I want to make sure that the motion is clear, if you may, Commissioner Jones. The recommendation is to have Commissioner Finney be our designated delegate and the alternates in order, the administrator, Mr. Reese, the second alternate, the appraiser, Maria Castillo.
That sounds good.
I'll second that motion.
Very good. We will consider the first motion as withdrawn. The second motion has now been seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I'll sign some paperwork. Motion carries.
There's actually nothing to sign.
I thought that-
I certify that.
Oh, you certify.
I certify that.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. All right. 10 a.m. is when IMA is scheduled to be here, and we have an extension of the county waiver for trash pickup for an additional 2 weeks. Kaylee and Mackenzie, will that work for everybody? Would you please both come and address the commission on this item on our agenda? As you heard during public comments, Southwind's asking for the 2-week extension of the waiver of the county fee for fall cleanup. Do you see any problem with that, Mackenzie?
I'll let Kaylee speak a little bit more on it. It shouldn't be an issue if the way that they were talking about it, at least with them, they're going to provide the dumpster, they're going to be taking it, but I'm going to let Kaylee talk a little bit more about it.
All right, thank you.
My understanding was, well, I'm Kaylee Jones, the Road and Bridge Division Coordinator. My understanding was that Southwind is willing to incur the costs and make sure that everything gets hauled off, so I have absolutely no issues with that. I know some of the locations in which that we pick up the trash from have become an issue. I have one guy Steve Whitehurst, who wants to be done with it after this because they continually misuse it and dump tires and chunks of concrete, whatever. And I know Southwind will not want to deal with that part of it. So as long as they're handling that portion of it and whatnot, I have no issues with that.
And what I have in mind is the waiver of the fee countywide, not just exclusively for Southwind Homeowners Association. Is that a problem?
And we would just have to make sure for the locations that do have the sites open, there's Whitehurst and then there's three others. We would have to make sure with them that they're okay for continuing having that drop-off location, but if they're not okay having that drop-off location, it's still gonna be open for the county residents to go ahead and take it straight to the dump.
Questions, Commissioner?
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know the drop-off thing has been an issue, and that's why we eliminated one of the locations in Towns Riverview because it was an issue for years. And so I guess my question is, and yes, Mr. Chairman, if we're going to do something, it needs to be countywide, not just specific to one subdivision, because there was a notice that went out that said these are the dates. I provided that to our subdivision, both the north and south, that there were Fridays that individuals could take things to the landfill and get a reduced rate and so forth. So I don't have a problem of trying to do this going for another couple weeks. However, do we need to keep those locations open or just make it for the residents that they get that fee waiver or so forth? And I would be more in favor of that because I know what Kaylee is talking about. If we keep the locations open, we've encouraged that continuous dumping, and so I'm not in favor of that. I would be in favor of waiving the fee.
And we'll just have to make sure that we give notices out that this is the end of these pickup locations and do some education for the community as well to let them know that these are site-specific and they're not for the entire county to be dropping off.
So that's the concern that I raise, is how we word it and how we publicize it.
I think you misworded, or those sites should be closed. But the dump fees for county residents, if they deliver themselves, could be extended.
Yeah.
I'm in favor of that.
And I said what I said because I was getting the feeling that there might be an extension of the sites, and I'm not in favor of that.
Yep, that, agree.
Any other comments, Commissioner Davey? Nope. All right. Then I assume you want to make a motion to extend the waiver of the fee at the dump, and the sites will close last Friday.
And yeah, right, and as sites remain closed, that we've had open for a couple weeks.
Would you like to do it for the entire week or just for the 2 extra Fridays?
I believe right now you're just doing it on.
We just did it on a couple of Fridays.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that too.
The remaining Fridays in October?
There'd be 2 more Fridays, correct, in October?
All right, I'll make sure the Southwind folks know that.
That's what I
20th and 27th?
That's what I would, a continuation of the fee waiver for the Fridays as we've done in the first half of the month.
But they're providing,
No.
Southwind's providing their own dumpster.
Right, right.
Now for the city, though, they do allow for the, to drop off all week. So I don't know if,
Well, we're not dictating anything within the city.
okay, I didn't know if you were also extending it for the city as well because they're still picking up.
Why can't we? I mean, I don't think they're done with all the fall cleanup. Do you, Mr. Lee?
No, sir, I don't think, especially like, Friday was supposed to be our last day. We didn't get anything picked up because of 50-mile-an-hour winds. So I'm sure the city ran into the same thing. Yeah, I would imagine that they still have things to be picked up as well.
Well, I would think, Mr. Chairman, that if we're doing it countywide, but we're doing it for Fridays, that would apply to anybody in the city as well.
I agree. Is that your motion?
Yes.
All second.
That's been moved and seconded that the county waive its trash fees at the landfill on the 20th and 27th, countywide. Is that sufficient for you, Mr. Administrator?
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, folks. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Last thing on our business agenda is from IMA Insurance, and hold up a second. I know you just got here. Jayla Miller is here from IMA, and we're gonna take you up in 9 short minutes. We're gonna take a short break and give you a chance. I know you've been driving this morning, so you'll have a break, and we'll reconvene at 10 till 10. and it is 9:50, and we will next hear on our business agenda from IMA Health Insurance, Jayla Miller and Kelly, our Human Resource Director.
Good morning, Commissioners. It's good to see all of you again. I'm here to present the renewal recommendation for the 2024 health insurance renewal. In your packet that we've included just a high-level renewal executive summary, and it kind of walks through the process that we went through to come to the recommendation that we did. So on that renewal executive summary, the initial renewal released from Blue Cross Blue Shield was a 14% increase. Dollar-wise, when we're looking at that, it's around $705,195. The renewal was driven by continued utilization. Blue Cross looks at 3 time periods, and the heaviest weighted time period was a year ago when we had some pretty high claims utilization. Within that renewal, we had the components of the administration cost. Blue Cross Blue Shield released the administration cost flat for this year. IMA did go back to Blue Cross and negotiate a premium renewal or premium holiday. So Finney County will be credited $20,000 off of admin on the first invoice of the year. We found that the admin costs are a little bit higher than Blue Cross's book of business, and so we asked them to bring those down and got a $20,000 credit. On the second component is the stop loss premiums. We're seeing an increase in the stop loss premium. This is another fixed cost to the county of 30.2%. Overall, an increase of $173,252. And what stop loss does is it's looking at essentially it's the insurance you're buying to protect the county, right? And there have been several overages in terms of over the $125,000 stop loss level in place today over the last 2 years. Additionally, the stop loss premiums are based upon how the Blue Cross Blue Shield pool is running overall, and over the last couple of years, they've been running a little higher. So that's where we're getting the 30% increase there. Again, Blue Cross Blue Shield knew that we were marketing this year, and so we went back to them and said, we need you to sharpen your pencil on stop loss premiums, and we got a premium holiday of $70,000 on the stop loss premium. So again, that'll be a credit on that first invoice in January. And so about $90,000 in total credit we've been able to negotiate this year. The dental renewal on itself was a 1.3%. That's an overall increase of $2,323. So that's within the Blue Cross renewal. We just pulled it out separate from medical. We did go to market for other options this year, and I can explain each of those on the next page. So currently today, there are 2 plan design choices that an employee of Finney County has to choose from during open enrollment, a $500 deductible and a $1,000 deductible. At the request of county administration, we went back and asked for alternatives, asking for 3 different options. And so what we are recommending today for renewal is a triple option, keeping that $500 deductible plan, increasing the $1,000 to $1,500, and then adding a $3,500 high deductible plan as well. This helps meet a couple of goals that the county had. One, to have a higher deductible at a lower premium cost so that younger people coming in who don't necessarily need as rich of a plan have a pretty economical option for them to choose from. And then 2, to put a little bit more space between, deductible space between the options. And then with higher deductibles, hopefully then going to promote the clinic and getting some more utilization out of the clinic. So that's why we looked at the 3 deductible options that we did. That is the alternative renewal from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And that after our migration estimation into that $3,500 plan is a 10.2% increase, or $513,295. The next 4 options you see on the page are the options we sought from the market. So we were looking at moving to Meritain, which is an Aetna-owned third-party administrator. You will see option 1 is the only firm option that we received from the market. What that means is that the stop-loss carriers that we went to, so Berkeley, QBE, Sun Life, and Voya, all wanted to see another month of data, so data through September, for them to firm up numbers. Given where we're at in the timeline this year, and where their preliminary numbers came in, it just didn't make a lot of economical sense to wait for those numbers to come in. Additionally, the open market can look at individuals on the plan, depending on what their health issues are, and request that the county put higher single stop-loss premiums on that individual, and the firm quote, that is indeed what happened. We had what's called a laser in the market, so they're looking to ask the county to pay a little bit more. Given that we believe that the other markets would also go ahead and add a laser to this, where we can renew with Blue Cross and get our plan design options that we need. We already have the credits on the admin and the stop loss that we were able to negotiate. We believe that the Blue Cross renewal was the best for the county for 2024. Any questions on the marketing that we've presented so far?
Question, Blue Cross, do they require you to identify individuals too? like
No.
others?
No, there are no lasers included in their contracts.
That would be a concern, I would think.
Yes.
Other questions? I didn't think you were finished.
No, it's okay. I was just going to ask if there were more questions.
All right. Any other questions, Commissioner?
Okay, on the next page, just illustrates the plan design changes that we are making. You can see all the alternative options that we looked at, but in discussions with administration and the department heads, it just seemed that if we left prescription drugs alone and we just looked at increasing deductibles, that was going to be the most fair for all, in helping keep member benefits rich while also helping the county to meet their goals. The difference from renewal you see is the difference of claims factors. So that's essentially the savings that Blue Cross is projecting or estimating the county will see by having that migration to the higher deductibles. And then on the next page, we've put together a contribution illustration. Funding at max, so this is the maximum liability to the county that's been budgeted, and does include the premium holidays that have been negotiated with Blue Cross. What we've done is on option A, the $500 deductible, we've kept the employee cost at a 10%, and then all employee plus tiers at 20%. We've kind of kept that same pattern going down the options. Option B will be a 5% employee-only contribution, and then a 15% on the employee plus tiers. And then option C, the brand-new $3,500 deductible option, is a 2% employee-only contribution, and then family tiers would be 10%. At the bottom in the blue box is what the increase to employees will be based on current enrollment. It's about $75,503 for the year. And then the county's potential increase based on these enrollment numbers, $437,793. If there is more migration, we were very conservative in our numbers. If there is more migration into that $3,500 plan, or even from the $500 to the $1,500, we're going to see some shifts in those to the benefit of the county. Questions? Okay, great. Next, I do have the dental contribution. So we have just kept the dental contribution the same for the employees. This essentially comes out of the same fund that the health insurance comes out of, and the increase is pretty minimal, $2,323 to the county based on the dental. And then lastly, that gets us to our recommendation. So it is to renew with Blue Cross and Blue Shield with the recommended triple option. I have the deductibles listed there for you, the $500, the $1,500, and the $3,500. Moving forward with the contributions as illustrated in this packet today, and when we look at total costs, so not taking contributions into account, the total cost for medical and dental is $5,720,392. We do have ancillary coverages as well. The vision is currently under rate guarantee with VSP, so we recommend renewing with that. Same thing with Optum, which is the employee assistant program, no changes to rates this year. And then renew Tria Health as well with no changes to rates.
My question is to the administrator, budget as passed, had this 5,720,392 calculated in?
Yes, it has.
Any other questions for our representative from IMA or for Kelly?
Mr. Chairman, not a question, but I truly appreciate you going out and looking at the other options. I also respect the opinion that you bring to the table with regard to those other options at this point, at least. But I would encourage us to continue that practice, if you will, to help hold Blue Cross Blue Shield feet to the fire.
Yeah.
I really appreciate that work that you went through, because I know it creates additional work going out to other parties. So,
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.
The $70,000 premium holiday on the stop loss side of it is appreciated. I think they could have done more, but I'm at the other end of the table.
Right. And frankly, for Blue Cross to give a concession on their stop loss is very rare.
Even their administrative fees.
And even their administrative fees, so.
Well, I would have liked to have seen them do a better job of providing 100% refund on the prescription side of it. That would have dented this number significantly, and if they care to watch, they can know where we'll be next year.
Well, and that is something our leadership team consistently brings to Blue Cross's leadership team's attention, that groups are looking to move away because of the 80% rebate versus 100 that they can get in other contracts. So it's a conversation we're having frequently.
Well, from the consumer's perspective, is they're taking 20% of our money.
Yes.
Might as well add it as additional premium.
Yep.
Dwayne?
I was simply going to ask, as far as the health of our employees, are our claims consistent, or are we increasing, or claims as well?
Yes, so this year, great news, we're running right at expected claims. So we are seeing a downturn of where we've been over the last 2 years. And so we are hoping that trend continues, but it's something we actually meet with the county administration monthly on to keep them informed of where claims are running and how they're running, so that we can be prepared for whatever it is we need to market or conversations with you all around budget.
Thank you.
Jayla, you represent other public entities, don't you?
Yes.
So is this across the board, everybody's in the same boat, or?
Yes, I mean, yes, essentially. I've fully insured. I've had a little bit better luck this year, which is rare because none of my other colleagues are really seeing that. But across my other municipalities I've worked with, especially that are self-funded, these are the types of stop-loss premium increases that we're seeing across the board from Blue Cross Blue Shield. They have been keeping those admin costs flat, so that's been consistent. And then it's just a matter of how the claims run, right? And then we're doing what we can to help you guys manage those with the clinic, with Tria Health, and those types of things.
The Grow Well addition to our employees, that's helped, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think it has. We've done some analysis and research that we're seeing some decline in the costs that through the health plan that the clinic does run, and Blue Cross is giving claims credit because of the partnership with the clinic. So that it is helping in some aspects.
Do other public entities offer these kind of?
From a clinic standpoint, we have had some that have looked at it, none that have any active today. You are my only active clinic client. I do have another client here in the area that is, actually I take that back. Your neighbor, a couple of counties away, is also utilizing, it's Care to Thrive in Dodge City, but same clinic. And then I have another employer locally here that is partnering with the Grow Well Clinic as well. So there are some that are definitely using it as a way to provide convenience to their members and to try to keep claims costs down.
Any other questions for them? And I think then, Kelly, you're making a recommendation to the board?
So if there's no further questions, I did just want to say that I've been in contact recently with Grow Well, excuse me, of the around 550 total employees and dependents on the health plan. We have over 400 using Grow Well Clinic. So, and I do hope that that will increase next year with what you guys have done as far as letting the employees use the clinic on the clock. So we appreciate that. I heard a lot of good feedback from that. And then also, just for the viewing audience, the FSA contribution next year that we will increase will go up to $3,200. That's the flexible spending account that the employees will have access to. So that did increase up to $3,200, which will help if anyone does migrate over to the $3,500 option. So our recommendation is that you approve as presented today by IMA the triple option.
All right, is there any other questions of our representative and of Kelly? If not, is there a motion to approve the 2024 health insurance renewal with Blue Cross Blue Shield as presented by IMA in a presentation in our package today?
Mr. Chairman, so move.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the 2024 health insurance renewal as presented. Is there any further discussion from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, my comment is I wish the people in Topeka would understand that this is one of the issues that local government has to face when they talk about revenue neutral and tax lid and putting 4% limits on property valuations. It's hard to do when you have increases like this in health insurance. So that's my only comment.
My comment is that this renewal is 14%. Last year was 30%. And at some point in time, whether it's Blue Cross or somebody else or our own employees, the cost of health insurance far exceeds inflation or our ability to pay it. The two will soon have a problem, and Commissioner Pishney is right. The folks in Topeka need to listen to this presentation just so they know that our costs are going to go up. And it's not something that we can readily control, and we're doing the things, in my opinion, that we can do to help our employees be healthier, to provide alternatives to the most expensive form of health care, which is the emergency room. And so when we can avoid that by using Grow Well, we should do so.
And I do have one question, Mr. Chairman, for Kelly. What kind of, and maybe it entails Jayla too, but what kind of education are we going to do with the employees with regard to the triple option plan?
I will offer either some in-person or, Tyler and I both are working on a lot of graphics that are getting ready to go out because we do have open enrollment November 1st through the 15th. We will make sure that the information is put out. We will offer one-on-one in-persons or, group in-persons to make sure that it's put out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any final remarks, commissioners? Not, we'll vote then. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jayla.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, with your permission.
Don't get on that combine.
Truck.
He's a truck driver.
Well, we'll start with Commissioner Drees' report. No.
I have no report.
Have a good day, sir. All right. Upcoming meetings and events are listed for us by the clerk. Any additions or deletions to that, meetings and events?
Nothing to add or delete, but I would like to call out that early voting will start next week on Monday here at the County Administration Building. That'll be available weekdays from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. On October 26th, we will have an evening vote where we'll be taking voters until 7 p.m. I just think it's important, and I'd like the community to know that we will be here so they can vote.
Can I reiterate those dates, please? Early voting starts on what date? October what?
October 23rd,
Okay, and then on October what day are you gonna have evening voting?
October 26th will be evening.
From what times?
That day we'll have voting from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. And on November 4th, which is a Saturday, we will have early voting from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
10 to 2 here at the Administrative Center,
Correct.
in your office.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that, like that November date that you just referenced, be added for next, that we see it on the meetings and so forth for the next calendar.
Certainly.
But also, I would ask that we include those showcases on here, and I know Bob referenced the one November 9th. And they should have all those dates set through March, I think.
Yes, so this page that you're looking at right now are meetings and events specifically for commissioners. But if we go down to the next page, there is a list of community events.
I guess I hadn't.
So it's kind of the difference there. So we do have all of the showcases that I am aware of, plus some other community events.
I apologize for.
No problem.
I just had looked at the one that we normally get, so I didn't look at the other one. And then lastly, the voter registration deadline is?
Tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
I thought it was coming up here. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Tomorrow at noon, isn't it?
No, the voter registration deadline will run through midnight, so as long as we receive it.
That's what I understood.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
To be clear, if you want to cast a vote in November's election, and here in our county, we have school board, board of trustees, and city commissioners. Anything else on that ballot, Dory, while we're on that subject?
School board, college board of trustees, city commission.
Those school boards.
Yes, Holcomb and Garden City school boards, as well as 102 for those people in Calvesta area. We also have Drainage District and West Plains Extension District and Holcomb City Council, as well as Garden City Commission.
All right.
Testing my memory.
Okay, just to reiterate, registration for voting closes tomorrow at midnight. Early voting commences October 23rd at 9 to 4 p.m. at the clerk's office. We'll have evening voting on October 26th from 9 to 7 p.m. And then again, evening voting on November 4th, or excuse me, not evening voting, but voting here on November 4th. And if I wrote that down correctly, 10 to 2?
10 a.m. to 2 p.m.
Right.
And these dates are also all on our website, as well as on the Finney County Clerk Facebook page.
I would hope that we have better than 10% participation. It is horrible
Let's hope.
that our voters are not actively engaged. So we worked pretty hard in this country to get the right to vote. It's up to you to exercise it. Next, a development update from Mackenzie.
Good morning again, Chairman and Commissioners. Mackenzie Phillips, Development and Administrative Coordinator. I just have a few updates for you this morning. So last week, we had a utility coordination meeting for the Randall Estates project. And these are meetings that we haven't typically done in the past, but we are starting to implement them as a new step within the project to make sure that all of the utilities are on the same page of where we're going to be going in the right of way or within the easements. And it seemed to go very well. So from here on out, they were working with Mr. Randall on, we're reviewing his letter of credit and then seeing if there's anything additional. And he should be able to start with probably within the next month. And then the next update is for Western Kansas Corridor. Our engineers have been reviewing the original submittal for the infrastructure plans, all of the recorded inspections, and then as well as the as-built that were submitted. And they have finished reviewing that, and so we're working on scheduling a final walkthrough for the infrastructure to see if there's any outstanding items and to inspect the infrastructure that was installed. That is going to be occurring sometime next week. We're looking at a couple different dates. Any other questions for me?
I don't have any, commissioners. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Treasurer, you are up.
Good morning. I'm Trista Joyce, County Treasurer. So I have submitted to you a report on the idle funds of Finney County and interest earned during the third quarter of 2023. Some highlights include that Finney County earned $476,103.68 in interest revenue during the third quarter, bringing the amount earned to year-to-date of $1,521,942.65. At the end of the quarter, we had funds deposited with 5 financial institutions. At the end of September, investment bids were taken to fill out our investment ladder. We have taken the approach to invest larger blocks of funds to mature every 3 months in order to provide consistent interest income for the future. With these new investments, we were able to extend the ladder to 24 months, which is the maximum allowed by policy. We received favorable bids, and the investments were placed during the first week of October. With these investments, we now have funds deposited with 6 financial institutions, which moves towards the board's desire of diversifying the institutions which hold our investments while earning the most interest income possible. So those 3 investments were won by Valley State Bank, and I've submitted to you the results of that bidding process.
Questions for the treasurer?
Appreciate the information.
Absolutely.
I like the hard work, and the rate of return is much greater.
Yes.
Your efforts are bringing some savings to the taxpayers.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trista.
Next up on our agenda is the county councilor's report.
Had several agreements that I've been looking through for approval over the past couple weeks. I also have been working through tax sale items, been comparing kind of some of what was there before with what's there now. Started working on trying to get the demand letters sent out, working through GIS to figure out some updated addresses for some people, working with the treasurer on making sure that we have addresses from the other side as well. I think there, in the stack of things that I had from when Ms. Lobemeyer was working on some of it, there were a lot of returned without good addresses, a fairly substantial stack of those, so trying to see what we can do to get some of that. Just working through it and looking at prior lists to now, there have actually been several that have come in and paid, which is good. We've gotten that done prior to having to file something, one of which was probably the largest one that was on the list as far as amount of money that was owed. So those are good, but working on getting through that. I'm going to get those letters out hopefully this week. It's just taken some time to try to search through those addresses and work towards that. So I did ask for a executive session for today to talk about attorney-client matters as well.
All right. So my question is that your comments are directed towards a potential tax foreclosure sale?
Yes.
Other questions from the commissioners?
Mr. Chairman, Kara, you indicated some people have come in and paid, and one was fairly substantial and so forth. Are those people that are just ignoring the tax bills, and then when they get the phone call, if you will, they come in and pay, or are they people that maybe we have had a wrong address and they aren't getting the tax statements? Or is there any theme to that at all?
Maybe Trista can answer that one.
I can speak a little to that. A lot of times what we're finding on people that have gone on hard times, and so it's just gotten out of control. So we've had several come in and try to work with us. We outline how much it will take to pay, on a certain period. So, you need to pay so much each month to get you caught up by a certain time period. So we're really working with anybody we can to make sure they get in to pay and alleviate that part of their burden.
I know there's, been some chronic ones over the years. I get that, but I didn't know if there was some kind of a theme or
Sure, and yeah, and I'll speak to that too. A lot of times, once they've realized that there is further action that could be taken, they get more serious about making their payments.
Thank you.
Trista, one more quick question. I had a call from a patron that had been taking care of a property, and it's an estate, and they had known that it was going to be up for tax sale, but they hadn't heard anything, and so they wanted to make sure that they hadn't missed it. And so I guess my question would be, how are people notified of the upcoming sale or the sale?
Sure. So anybody with a property that was on the sale, Ms. Lobmeyer did try to reach out to them, and it sounds like Ms. Schartz will do the same thing. And so we also do update our website. Any type of once anything's starting to be filed, it will be available in the Telegram as well. But really, our website, finneycounty.org/treasurer, and click on the tax sale link. That's where they should be going.
That's where I will send them when they call again.
Sure. And they're also welcome to call our office as well.
They'd been maintaining the property, mowing it and things like that, and they wanted to buy it when it comes up for tax sales. Dang sure didn't want to miss it.
Absolutely, yes.
Anything else, commissioners?
Thank you.
All right. We'll move on to the county administrator.
All right, just a few more items. We did have our bid opening on the sewer improvements. You should have that at your next meeting on the 6th. Additionally, we did have the architect presentations last week. Once again, you should have a recommendation on the 6th on that as well for 2, if not 3 of the projects. Working a little bit with Public Works on letter of credit for the developments, revamping that. And then keeping in touch and visiting with Mike on the progress of the report on the LEC building. Should have a draft potentially for you on the 6th. If not, it'll be on the 20th.
Very good. Questions to the administrator? If I may, I would like to slip in at this point and ask Kelly to address the commission with regard to a event at last week's, or 2 weeks ago's employee training seminar, in which Commissioner Davy Jones did the invocation and welcome.
Like my math skills, I can't do art either, so.
Did you draw this?
I did not. So we actually brought in motivational speaker and artist Sam Glenn. We were able to share in some costs with Russell Child Development Center, as they had him come up to their building for their staff the next day. But he painted this that morning while he presented to us on attitude. It was a very good presentation. This was our 3rd annual In-Service and Benefits Fair, and this was our most attended. We had around 230. They all didn't show up for the whole day due to, staffing or working overnight or whatnot, but that's been the best we've had in attendance so far. So he did this painting that we get to keep here at the county, and then he also did another painting that morning that he allowed us to raffle off, and Maria Castillo won that painting. It was a tiger. So, and we had a really good day. I've gotten a lot of feedback. We appreciate Compass Behavioral Health was there to talk about work-life balance. Leadership Garden City did an activity with us that was well received. Danielle Burke, I believe, the assistant city manager, was there and did a presentation on communication. And then Sam Glenn had a breakout, as well as being the keynote speaker, and his breakout was about being the difference.
So where did you and the administrator decide we're gonna put this painting in this building?
Well, we've looked at a couple different places, but we're not sure yet, so.
I don't know, it may be one of those that would look good in this room somewhere.
You gotta have a lot of walls.
Yeah, there's some, yeah. Oh, yeah, and we did have Steve Quakenbush, yeah, from the Finney County Historical Society. He came and did some Finney County trivia over lunch and gave out some gifts as well. So he was kind of a last minute. We typically can't get him because of his annual picnic, but we were able to secure him this year, and I think it turned out good as well.
There may be some who are shocked that the chairman doesn't know exactly how many county employees we have, but you said 230 made it to the.
Correct. I believe we have around 290 total, and that does include like our reserve positions, part-time on-call positions. So.
And a certain number of those people were working.
Correct, yeah.
Working at
Yeah.
the time, so your attendance is very good.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, yeah. And even if they got to come, for the last hour or whatnot, when they got off shift, it was still good to see that many in attendance. And I got a lot of great feedback this year.
Well, no emoluments to the administrator, so, but I think that we'll defer to him and you as to where this painting goes.
Absolutely, yep. We'll get it done.
The wall that needs the most color.
Yes.
It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, thank you.
Are there any other department monthly reports? If not, commissioners' reports, we'll go left to right. Mr. Davy Jones?
The only meeting I had was what Kelly just reported on. That fella is interesting, so we need to bring him back, but we need all the commissioners to come and attend, because he's quite a motivational speaker. I'm gonna tell you a little story. He had a tree, kind of a simple looking, but a beautiful tree on the upper half of a what I want to say, it wasn't a canvas, it was something paintable, and then down below he had all of the different colors of paint that he had used to make that, and he pointed out that over on the lower right side where the paint's kind of a mess was when he was going through a divorce. And over on the lower left side, it was kind of a mess, and that was when his mother died. But you begin to get the sense of what he was talking about in the center was very pretty, and his message dealt with personal experience, but that some days things are not going well at the office, and we need to move away from that, maybe even go home. So he was very good. I appreciated him. So anyway, that's my report.
Commissioner Jones?
Let's see, the only other thing other than the call on the person interested in buying the tax property or property, I attended the coffee or meeting or something with Senator Moran when he was in town, and spoke to him a little bit about what I thought our challenges with our sheriff, and reiterated what we had heard from Tony Mativi in Hayes on the fentanyl problem. And they're very well, most of them are aware of it. It's just, I don't know how I would not want his job. 'Cause that is, looks to me like you just run in circles most of the time trying to do things. But they are getting a lot done for on veterans projects, and let's see what else he was talked about. That was they were doing a lot. They were helping a lot of the taxpayers or patrons of the Kansas on special requests, and he said they just spent he was here on a Wednesday or Tuesday or something. Thursday. Anyway,
when Dwayne and I were in
it was.
architect meeting.
He said that they had lots of requests for help getting people out of Israel. And, citizens that got stuck over there and couldn't get out. And so he said, we've been pretty tied up doing those type of things. So, he's busy. They were getting ready to go to, I think they left here and went to Syracuse. But it's fun to, talk to him and, see what was going on and reiterate a few of our problems with him, which I'm sure he gets tired of hearing every day.
It's always nice to talk to someone who serves in the United States Senate, who you call on the first name, and Senator Moran responds very well to that and is very receptive to us here in Finney County as a whole, and I commend him for his service. Commissioner Pishney, your report, sir.
Yes, I've known the senator for over 50 years, and yes, it is very nice to be able to call him Jerry. So I attended the forums or debates or whatever you want to call them for the city and for the community college. I was out of town for the school board one, but watched it on the replay. And it was interesting to hear the questions and so forth for those candidates. So I agree with your chairman comments the other day, or excuse me, a little bit ago, I'm sorry, about getting out to vote. It is something where we don't have to worry about life or death, kinds of things when we go vote, like they do in other countries. And we do need to get out and do our civic duty of voting. The Extension District Board meeting was canceled this last month for a lack of agenda items. I did attend the Economic Development meeting, which was routine this last month. And then I want to insert one thing with regard to board governance, Mr. Chairman. We went through a process earlier this year primarily to give staff budgeting priorities and so forth. But on the website is the governance model that still lists Bob Kreitzer as commissioner, and it was revised in 2022. And I think we need to revise that, and this is an appropriate time frame to do that because it's what we reference as our legislative policy document as well. And so I would encourage us over the next month to have on our agenda a thorough discussion about our governance model that's on the website. I think it needs to be revised. It references the KLPG, KAC, and et cetera, but also it lists the long-term and short-term objectives that we have. But part of the reason that I pulled this up just recently is we were asked by a city official at the KDOT highway meeting that I attended. We were asked what our position was on 156 and 83 officially as a county. And we do reference that in this document that's on the webpage for 83 highway. We don't necessarily reference anything for 156. So that's what prompted me to go to the website and look at it and see where we were. But this one was revised in 2022, and I think we need to have that discussion over the next month. So I just throw that out as your planning agendas for the next couple meetings. And then lastly, public announcement that last Thursday I did send my filing paperwork to run for House of Representatives in Kansas for District 122, which is rural Finney County, Kearney County, and Hodgman and part of Pawnee. And it should be official here in the next couple of days. So I did want to let you and the audience know that I am, as soon as I get it recorded in the Secretary of State's office, an official candidate for that position, which would be next year's election.
Correct, and you wouldn't be sworn in until 2025.
Correct, that's correct.
And it would be unique, but I don't know that you could hold both the representative position and a commissioner position, or do you plan on staying on this commission? Because your term,
I would be in midterm at the end of 2024, yes. So I haven't gotten that far, but probably would give up this seat.
folks need to be thinking about that.
But-
And we wish you the very best in your campaign.
Thank you.
At this point, I'm unaware of anyone who would file for that position also. That'll be interesting if they do.
Yep, it will be.
So the public is aware that a person that holds that seat right now is Dr. Clifford, former member of this commission. And Dr. Clifford will not be running for office in the 122 district that he now occupies, and instead filed and is a candidate for the Senate District number 39.
39.
The seat being vacated by Senator John Doe.
Correct.
My report is about the continuing events at Compass. Compass is a growing and vital and really important work for people within our community, and they're doing some great things, but they need some help too. We do not have, and I hope somebody from the state may be listening, is that our closest mental health facility to help those in need is in Larned, with very few beds available. And the sheriff was here for most all of our meeting today, and his office is fundamentally charged with the task of keeping the peace, even in the face of someone having a mental health issue. So it is really important that here in Southwest Kansas and hopefully Finney County gets considered that we someday in the future have a mental health facility. And as Compass has been awarded the community-based Community Health Organization, CBHCC for the acronym People in the World. This is very important for our community. They are adding and have added and intend to add 60 new positions, 40 some of them here in Finney County alone. And folks, the reason why we're doing that is that the need is great and the ability to fully serve all of our citizenry is woefully inadequate. Those are my comments and update to the commission. We have the need for an first executive session on attorney-client matters. Not to give a prelude of what that's about, but I will reiterate that oral argument of the Board of County Commissioners case pending before the Kansas Supreme Court will be heard on November 14th in Dodge City, and the public is invited. Ms. Linda Lobmeyer will be representing the county and doing oral argument before the court at that time. If you want to watch that oral argument, please be in your seats 30 minutes before the appointed time. The first executive session is for attorney-client matters. Do we have a motion to go in executive session? And Ms. Shart's attending, as well as the administrator and assistant administrator. How long do you think we need? 10 minutes enough?
10 minutes is probably enough. It really just depends on how many questions y'all have.
Did she say 10 minutes?
Yes, sir.
I'll offer the motion.
For executive session?
Executive session to include the commission, county council, and the county administrator and the assistant administrator for 10 minutes.
Right, we'll convene. Second it, and we'll reconvene at 9:51. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We're in executive session till 10:51. from executive session, motion to go back into regular session, and I will confirm for the public that no action was taken during executive session. Motion to back into regular session.
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded to begin back into regular session of the county commission. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're back in regular session. Once again, I'll state that no action was taken in an executive session. Next on our agenda is additional executive session for the purpose of non-elected personnel. Entertain a motion to go into executive session for 30 minutes, coming back in at 11:25, and ask for Jenny, Assistant Administrator, and council to attend. Is there such a motion?
Mr. Chairman, can we make that 5 minutes later and take a quick break?
Yes, we can. We can come back into regular session at 11:30.
Okay, and I'll offer that motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded, go into executive session with administrator, assistant administrator, and council present. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll return at 11:30 or before. We will not convene until 11:30. session and motion to go back into regular session. I'll confirm to the public that no action was taken.
I'll offer that motion.
Been moved and seconded back into regular session. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Back in regular session. I'll again confirm that no action was taken in executive session. On our agenda, we have nothing further. We have meetings set for November 6th and November 20th. Is there anything else before the commission? If not, a motion to adjourn.
Well, no, just a couple of reminders. We should have a couple of architects things on November 6th, hopefully. And then, as I said earlier, I hope we talk about our governance model, not just on the 6th, but through the month of November.
All right.
Question, you attended KDOT B?
We did. Robert and I attended Lifeline's dinner with the secretary, the chief engineer, Kirkham Markham was there, the engineers, as well as lobbyists for those folks. It was an incredible meeting in my mind. Robert got to visit with the people at the other end of the table, but I had the chief engineer's ear a little bit about South Highway 83 improvements, and I think that we're getting a better message on that. We didn't get to talk about 4-lane coming in from the airport as much as I'd like to, because it's still a ways out, whereas 83 is on the front page, especially where they start on Main Street Bridge in 24 and 25.
So they don't have any big changes other than what they committed to us.
I'm unaware of any big changes. You were at the other end with the secretary. You would know more than I.
Well, I'm not supposed to have the shot.
I'll take them down to the girls.
Our dinner was on Monday night or Tuesday night, and the presentation from KDOT was on Wednesday, well attended by county representatives. I don't know if any other commissioners, you made it.
We, and at that one, the KDOT thing on during the daytime, they had breakouts for various groups, and I don't remember how many groups, 4 or 5 different ones. And the theme that came out of that, and really that consult was about filling the pipeline, because they have the pipeline for construction, the pipeline for development, and the pipeline for development has moved pretty much toward
Well,
So,
I,
mean, that was the consult thing, the jury's still out on what the results of that will be.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
Before we adjourn, we were, I think, going to have a work session on November 20th
For what purpose?
for the personnel policy.
Personnel policy, help me out. What,
So that's what, yeah, remember you guys approved all those changes to the personnel policy, the PTO, the going to grow well on the clock, all those changes, and we were to have a work session to finalize that policy. She was waiting on it to come back from the attorney, the personnel attorney. I just wanted to make sure that that was still on your radar, that November 20th meeting, because that policy does need to be reviewed and approved by the first of the year.
well, boss, do you want to do it on the 20th?
Take it up in the purchasing same time.
The purchasing policy? Yeah, that's one of the things that we do need to get updated.
We should have a red line version of the purchasing policy for you to discuss as well. For the 20th, hopefully we'll have it for you a couple weeks before that.
Okay. Well, why don't we go ahead and put on the schedule then, a work session on the 20th. See whether we want to have lunch served or whether you think we'll go through. What are you thinking, Robert?
I think it'll take a little while to get through the.
Personnel policy?
Both purchasing and personnel.
Well, let's have lunch served then.
I'd say it's actually a good day to do it because we'll have election canvass that day as well. Because you could do your work session while we're finishing counting the ballots, and then you guys can.
On the 20th, you're going to have canvassing?
Yes.
20th of November.
And we'll also have the purchasing policy.
Yeah, I already had it written on here, so we must have.
And if, it'll be an agenda item unless you want to defer to the work session. See how it works out. All right. All right. Any other business of the county before the commission today? Commissioners, a motion to adjourn.
I'll offer that motion to adjourn.
Moved and seconded that we adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.